nothing but the dog in me. Why must I chase the cat?
Good evening and welcome to Pound Posse Presents. Back tonight after a week off. Last week we went to see The Champions, the screening hosted by Paul and Melissa Fiacconi with Cherry, who was the guest the week before, up in Massachusetts. Had a great time. Got to see some of my favorite people and got to spend time going with some of my favorite people. The movie itself was just amazing. Everything it promised to be. Definitely worth seeing. I know that there's a few more screenings happening before it's available widely, even though I guess there is a digital download now. But definitely just everything it's cracked up to be. It was just incredible. You'll laugh, you'll cry. Your heart will swell with the love that it shows that everyone involved in the rescue of the victory dogs had for them. Just really, if the more I say, the more I'll spoil it for you. But understand that you will go through the gamut of emotions. You will need tissues. Not everybody will have a Debbie to hand them out as they're needed. But, definitely plan on bringing them. We've got some pictures. Zach, let's start with those. Here is the Academy of Music Theater up in Northampton, Mass. That was the marquee. Next up, there was the poster. Very, you get like all giddy and like emotional before you even go in, and you like now it's real. It's not just a Facebook post. You see the poster like that, and it's just like, oh my God, it's so cool. Next up, and of course, who did you think was going to be up there but my friends Deb and Juno? A little photo op there in front of the signage. Next up. That was after the movie. Paul and Melissa and Sherry did a bunch of pictures with people. They got barraged. There's, of course, Juno and Deb, and me with my eyes sort of closed. Isn't that great? That's Melanie from Sweet Pea and her daughter Michaela. And, of course, Cherry right there front and center, just being the most fabulous dog ever. It's just amazing to think of what he went through, and you see so much of it in the film, and we talked about it when he was here in the studio, but just, to see him on the screen and going through his rough times and to sit there with him like that in the lobby afterwards, it's just incredible. Next up, that's, of course, me and Juno. I sat on the steps while we were waiting to go inside, and my little friend Juno just jumped right up in my lap like she knew I needed a friend that day for reasons that I will get into. But it was great because there were so many people there and people who knew Juno, and there was actually a photographer, and I didn't include the picture, but as I was sitting there, she's like, oh, I know Juno, and she came and took a picture, and all you see is part of my T-shirt in my hand. It's like, the paparazzi was after Juno. So it was pretty funny. Next picture. That's, of course, Deb, and that's Juno's mom, and me and Juno. And like I said, I sat on the steps, and Juno just ran right into my lap. It was like, oh, my little buddy. Next picture. There we go again after the show. That's me with my friend Debbie and Sherry and Robin, and of course Cherry's mom Melissa and Cherry. Next up. Before the show, we were lucky because they were the hosts of the screening. Before the show, Paul and Melissa got up with Cherry and said a few words, and Debbie was, I got to give her props because she got front row seats for us. So she was in the front row taking pictures. I was in the second row, and we filled up like a whole little section, but she brought her camera and she did a really good job. Next up, this was a panel discussion that they had afterwards, and the woman with the microphone is actually Darcy Dennett, who made the film, and the gentleman on the side of her is Lee Greenwood, who is a legislative attorney for Best Friends Animal Sanctuary. And I got to introduce myself to both of them after the show, which was pretty heady. And Darcy actually recognized my name, and I think that's because of my article that I wrote, which was really cool. And I invited both of them to come and join me on the show, and they both said they would. So that was like, oh. So we'll see how far I can get with that. I'd love to have them on. Both are very interesting people. Apparently, the attorney is very involved in laws that are, he was very familiar with the laws in our state and what we're trying to do with the insurance bill and some of the other stuff. And, you know, Darcy's done so much, and she poured so much of her heart into this film. I'd love to talk to them both, because they were pretty neat to talk to just there in the lobby after the show. Next up, of course, we went out afterwards, because, you know, why wouldn't you when you're out for the day? That is Jane and Zach outside of the restaurant across the street that we decided to go to. And next one up, yeah, that was, I'm not gonna lie, that's a bar picture. You know, Robin and me and Sherry and Debbie all toasting to a good night. And that's just exactly what we had. Great film and good friends and a little road trip. You know, it's magical medicine. Next up, I think this is the last one. Here we are after dinner, just all chilling out and laughing and having a good time. And that's what it's all about. So, safe to say that's the last one, right, Zach? Okay, I will take the camera back for a few moments in time. And, yeah, just catching up on my notes, because apparently I didn't need them. Okay, so you all might remember one of my birthday dogs was Murdock. And Murdock got his start at the town of Hempstead Animal Shelter before he moved to Last Hope. And Murdock was up here on the show last August, and that was a thrill for me. Murdock has since moved on to find his forever home, thanks to the very hard work of the dedicated volunteers at the shelters. And I say shelters because they both, they're in the same place, and they're very involved with each other. It's just, it does my heart such good to see people who really love the animals that are in their care and go the extra mile. John, however, went a lot of extra miles because he drove Murdock most of the way home. Bless his heart. Stayed in touch with him, and been friends on Facebook with some of the other volunteers. They have a really neat idea, and that is that they have a sponsorship program where your sponsorship entails promoting one of the dogs at the shelter. So I was put into this group, and I was honored to be put there, figuring that, you know, I could take on a dog and promote him. And of course, we know that promoting is kind of what I do. So my dog is a big smush face, and I love him already. And I will tell you that you're going to see me share him until he gets a home. I'm not going to let it go. You're going to see him a lot on my Facebook page. You're going to see him on the show from time to time. He's just amazing. Let me introduce to you Zach. Let's get that first picture up of Diesel. He is just such a handsome boy. I can't even stand it. Doesn't he have beautiful eyes? He's got the most soulful face. And yeah, the coloring really is very much like a Saint Bernard. But you know, I love these pictures of the pits with the flowers. That's just, it's become like all the rage. You see them everywhere, and I think it's just, it speaks volume to the gentleness of their souls, I think, and it kind of, yeah, it softens the fact that people feel like these are such, you know, beasts and horrible dogs, which obviously we know I don't think they are. It's just, they're beautiful. And this is just the greatest picture. This is like the first picture I saw of him, and I melted. I completely melted. So Diesel is almost 7 years old. He lived with his family for 6 years and was bailed on by the only people he ever loved over landlord issues, which, you know, it's just, to me, that's so sad. Yeah, they 6 years and they bailed on him. So he's a big, lovable mush, and he is friendly with people, playful, and enjoys belly rubs. Let's get into some of the other pictures we have of Diesel. There he is. He is house trained, crate trained, and clearly knows how to give paw, but he doesn't know how to sit. He hasn't mastered that one yet. So apparently somebody along the way thought it was more important that he give paw than sit, but you could see he's sitting and giving his paw, so there's hope, right? Apparently he is afraid of water, which, you know, he's a big boy to be afraid of water. Let's get through some, look at him. That looks like a mug shot. But he's so gorgeous. I can't even stand it. Let's get a couple more in. Look at that face. Look at those ears. I love him.
I like the wrinkles around
Look,
his forehead.
yep, look how handsome he sits. Just so regal and just so, I don't know, there's a gentleness about him. I can't say that enough. That just, it draws me. Yeah, Nancy's saying it's his eyes, and it really is. And I love his little lopsided ears too, but that's okay. There he is with the paw again. The volunteers say that while he is social with other dogs on walks, it would probably be best for him to be an only pet, no dogs or cats. Let's roll through some more. That looks like Christmas time. And clearly he's a good snow bunny too. And there he is, happy to be in somebody's arms. He's just a lovable mush. Look at how happy his face is. Next up. Look at him. I can't even. He's gonna make somebody the best dog. He really is. You know, it's unfortunate that so many dogs need to be only dogs, but you know, there are people out there who honestly, they have the opening. You know, they have that only dog opening, and there's no reason for them, you know, not to open up their hearts to a dog that's like this. The best cuddler in the world. He's a sweet couch potato. He's house trained and ready to snuggle. I mean, I think that anybody who could take him home would be the happiest person with this big, lovable mush. I mean, there's pictures of him giving kisses to people. He's just, you know, look at how intent he is on the person that he's with. Like, maybe they have treats, or maybe he's just a lover boy. But, you know, I tend to think that a lot of it is him being a lover boy. And see, look, you can dress him up and take him out. And he's unlike me. You can't even dress me up. You can't even take me out. But there he is giving kisses again. I mean, he's just, I don't know. I'm in love with this dog, and I've never met him. And, you know, it's not the first dog that I've championed for without meeting. Huh? Okay. Zach's telling me that's the last one. You can roll through them again, and I'll just keep talking for a minute. Huh? He is at the town of Hempstead Animal Shelter, which is out on Long Island. If you are interested in finding out more or setting up an appointment to meet him, Their number is 516-785-5220. Once again, that's 516-785-5220. Or if you'd rather email for more information, you can email animalinfo@tohmail.org. Once again, that's animalinfo@tohmail.org. And he is just, I love him. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it over and over. Would make somebody a wonderful pet, only pet, perfect companion. At 6 years old, he's just, he just wants to snuggle and be a couch potato and soak up all the love. And, I really hope that we can get him far and wide to find a home that he deserves, where people won't bail on him over trivia. Okay, so he does have some other comrades at the shelter. Zach, let's get the poster up of the seniors. Oop, that's okay. Yeah, okay, put me in the middle of the picture of seniors, right? Great, thanks. But I'm not really up for adoption.
Well, you're chair trained.
Yeah, I'm chair trained. There you go. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of dogs at the town of Hempstead Animal Shelter who are older, and they deserve a chance just like any other dog. You can adopt, you can foster. Older dogs, like it says here, they don't chew shoes, they walk great on a leash, they enjoy just chilling out and being dogs, and there's so many of them that deserve a chance. So if Diesel isn't your cup of tea, maybe there's another one there. Check out their Facebook page. Definitely worth, if you're looking for a companion, to check them out. And stay tuned, because I can tell you there'll be more Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter dogs, including Diesel, coming up on future shows. All right, I'll take the camera back for a hot second. And since we're on the subject of seniors, I do have another one, this time from Yonkers Animal Shelter. Zach, let's get Scooby. Scooby's another handsome boy. He's a much larger dog. He is actually breaking my heart, this guy. He was found loose on the streets, already neutered, and no one came looking for him. He has been at the shelter for almost a year. He is 9 or 10 years old. He is about 100 pounds, and unfortunately, he slipped while he was out on a walk, and he is in need of ACL surgery, and that surgery is covered by the shelter. That's not something that someone who adopts him would have to bear the financial burden of. So all that's needed is a quiet place for Scooby to go to recover and live out the rest of his life. It wouldn't be fair to Scooby to make him go through the surgery and recovery while still at the shelter. You can scroll through the pictures of Scooby. Yonkers Animal Shelter is looking for a pet-free home in the general vicinity of the shelter so that Scooby can continue to see the vet after surgery. While he ignores most of the other dogs and, at 100 pounds is afraid of cats, the only pet status is a safeguard because no one wants to chance any incidents while he's recovering. So to give Scooby the best life he can have, it's urgent for him to find a home, to have the surgery, and to get his quiet place to recover. And, he's a much-loved, sweet old boy who really, really needs the help. And, this is another face that's killing me. He looks like just an awesome dog. Like I said, they love him. He's just a gentle giant. Again, at like 100 pounds, he's a lot of dog. But, for real, he really needs a place to go. They're putting off the surgery because it's just not fair. Look, he'd be sitting in a shelter Yeah, he's comfortable there and he's looking outside and, he's just all chill. Imagine him on your couch, just, with that sweet face that's right there, just, loving you every time you walked in the door. Look at that face. I can't. He's just so handsome. And another big mush who loves to give kisses, and he is afraid of cats. I can't even stand it. At 100 pounds, he's afraid of cats. But again, the reason for him to go strictly to an only pet home is because nobody wants to take the chance of any incidents, and it doesn't work out. And, he's at a disadvantage because, he's had surgery and he'll have restrictions. So anyway, if you can open your home to Scooby, please contact Leslie M147@gmail.com. Once again, that's Leslie M147@gmail.com. Or you can call Leslie at 201-981-3215. Once again, that's 201-981-3215. Scooby also has a Facebook page, and that is Senior Dog Scooby is Seeking a Home. So you can go on to Facebook and go to Senior Dog Scooby is Seeking a Home and follow his story and share his pictures and, share his page, invite your friends to like it. Just like with Diesel and all the shares that I'm going to be giving him, let's get Scooby shared and see if we can get both of these dogs. Oh God, I can't stand it. I love that face. Let's see if we can get both of these dogs hooked up with only pet homes in the very near future, because they are both very deserving senior dogs who don't need to be in a shelter right now. I will take the camera back, and of course, no dog deserves to be in a shelter, but the seniors, you've got to figure they add a special heartache to the situation. A dog like Diesel, whose family bailed on him after 6 years, a dog like Scooby, who is 9 or 10 years old and has spent a year in the shelter. The younger dogs, they don't deserve to be in a shelter either, but you've got these older dogs who have been either abandoned by the only family they've ever known and their whole world is turned upside down, or they're a dog who just has bounced around and never really had the love and attention and the care that they deserve to have their whole lives. So at the end of their life, and that's not to say that to adopt even Scooby at 9 or 10 years old, you're going to have 5 minutes left with him and he's gone. That's not to say that at all. A lot of these dogs live many years after they find their homes, after the shelter, having been there as a senior. It's not the end of their story just because they're up there in years. There are dogs who live to be incredibly old for their size. I have to say that last Tuesday, my Duke went to live with Bocce. I lost him at almost 14. And, I get my seniors the old-fashioned way. I've had them from puppies until their ripe old age. But, I will tell you with absolute certainty that, yes, I am looking for an addition to my family. And I've had a lot of people suggest dogs, and I appreciate that. But I'm not looking to adopt out of a knee-jerk reaction, A, because a dog is desperate for a home, and B, because, my heart is broken and I'm watching Gidget grieve and I'm a mess, and, that's just not the way to do it. You've really got to choose, not pick. I can tell you that I'm kind of over the whole puppy, energetic, having to start from scratch thing. I absolutely embrace the thought of an older dog who is not as high maintenance and who deserves a spot on the couch. They all deserve a spot on the couch, but the seniors, they tear at my heart. and I'd like to share with you a few pictures of my Duke. Let's start from scratch there. This was one of his very first pictures. I had Duke from the time he was 6 weeks old, and I had Duke and Bocce, both as puppies. I will tell you that that dish was Daisy's dish, and that was his dish when we lost Daisy, and he was big enough to use it. It's been kind of hard. You can see the paint supplies and stuff. I haven't lived in my house but for about 2 months without Duke, and so it's been kind of hard. But that was Duke shortly after he came home with me. Next picture, there he is in all of his glory, in his prime. Next picture, very much smiling. Next picture, that was our last moments. White face, old guy, lots of love, still giving mama kisses, and you know, just a heartbreaking experience. Next picture, there are my boys, and they're together again. Next up, Gidget absolutely loved her boys, and you can tell. She was a barnacle. That was her with Bocce. Next up, that was her with Duke. So, you know, Gidget doesn't have that kind of relationship with Bella, so you know her heart is broken too, because even in the last days of her time with him, she was laying on top of Duke. He was the most tolerant of her, and those two were thick as thieves for the entire time that Gidget lived with us, and that's pretty much 10 years. She'll be 11 in July. Next up, is there another one after this? That's it? All right, so you can run through those again if you want. And that's kind of like Duke's lifespan there. Very painful. Very painful.
He was so cute. Where did you find him?
Duke was a shelter.
As a little baby.
Duke, Bocce, and Gidget all came from the same shelter here in town. Nancy's asking me where I got them. Anyway, I'm going to say goodnight, folks. Peace, love, and dogs. Give a senior a chance. Thank you very much.